Ilia Topuria just went on Errol Hawani's program, the MMA Hour, which lasts for like 5 hours. But one bite, everybody knows the rules. So he said that he is not going to give Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, or Yair Rodriguez a shot at his title. And they ought to just go retire. He said all of these things before he won the championship, which to win the championship, he's going to have to beat somebody better than all three of the guys I just said. In Volkanovski, I have never heard somebody talk that way. And those are three big names to tell to go shove it up their ass. I mean, he just united them. Ortega, Yair, I mean, those two aren't going to get it right for a while. You bring Max into it, the three of them aren't going to get it right. He just made them on a team. He just put them on a team. And he put himself over here on an island. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing more monetizable than a cool heel. It's just hard to find them. And a heel travels alone. So, very effectively, he just singled himself out, which is hard to do because those guys are also by themselves, but not now. They're now on a team. He put them together over here on an island, which singled himself out and made him the star. I don't think that he meant to do it. I think it was on accident, but it was awesome. I've never seen it done. It was brilliant. I've never heard a contender talk this way. Oh, by the way, those three studs that he just panned, he's got to go through a guy better than all of them. This is incredible what Topuria has created. And could he go further with it? Like, does he really have an ability to not fight Yair, Max, Ortega? Not just as his first defense, ever. He's telling him, retire. I will never give you the opportunity. You will never be champion. I'm going to be, and I'm never going to lose it in your era. So you will never get a shot at what you want. Does he even have a choice? Because what would make it better, even if we were to fantasize? Like if he brought in his buddy Kyle, if he's like, this, by the way, Errol, this is Kyle. This is who I'm going to defend against. And Errol's like, Kyle, I'm sorry, we haven't met yet. And he's like, well, I'm really good, and I'm going to be next. And I mean, like how could it be better? What is it that Topuria could have done to make this more interesting? Even if you were to fantasize, is there anything that he could have done to make this better? I'm marked out for it. I just thought it was such a brilliant concept. So there are so many things about that fight, by the way, historically speaking, that line up for Topuria to win. I could name for you, I'm not going to do it now, but I am in the coming weeks. I'm going to give you examples, but all upsets have commonalities. All of them. All upsets have one specific commonality, which is the person who's upset found themselves in a contest harder than they thought it was going to be. Like right there in the moment, that night, the opponent, 5-1 dog, 8-1 dog, 20-1 dog, whoever, last minute replacement, whatever a guy I've beaten 5 times in the amateur, whatever it is, that opponent brought more in that moment, in the pool, on the court, on the field, in the ring, whatever it is, than they thought they were going to have to deal with. That is one ingredient. But another ingredient is timing. Every time, every upset, every one that you have. And there is something that is very off with the timing of this fight. Now, Volk asked for it. And Volk is the best fighter in the world. Pound for pound, in my opinion. Pound for pound, he should have the number one spot. He should not lose it for losing a short notice fight to a guy bigger than him. He should not have won the championship up there. The champion of that weight went to the right guy. Pound for pound should have stayed with him. Now, that's an opinion, and you may not share it, but you're not putting him any lower than 2, are you? So we're not really arguing about too much here. Of the 6 billion men alive, we're arguing if Volk can beat them all or if he can beat them all but one. Okay. And I don't say that Topuria is better anywhere. I don't. He might be, but I'm not here to tell you that he is. I'm just here to tell you that a lot of the numbers from youth, there's not a lot of times that you have a champion of the world who lost his last fight. It's just a concept that doesn't happen very often. There's not a lot of times that a champion of the world was knocked out in his last fight. It's almost an oxymoron. Hey, I lost my last fight by knockout. Hey, I'm the current champion. What? I'm sorry? Explain that? You must still be concussed, right? It's one of those things. It's almost a riddle. You have Topuria, who's never lost a fight. In the UFC, we put people by policy, but commissions like this. Commissions like to see this. A winner versus a winner. And somebody coming off a loss versus somebody with a loss. There is a very light, but it does exist, oversight of the matchups that you do. And the commissions do prefer to see. They just understand it. And I think that you guys do too. So we're going to take a guy that's won his last 15, and we're going to put him against a guy who got knocked out in the first round in his last one. Tell me the last time we've done that. Go ahead. Tell me. Bring boxing into it, by the way. Just give me an example of a time that a guy that was on a 15 straight run took out a guy who was woken up and carried out in his previous match. Now, I get that there's more to the story. I do maintain for you that Volk is a better fighter. I'm not even picking against Volk. I'm just foreshadowing to let you know that in the coming weeks, I am going to give you stories. I am going to give you specifics. I am going to point out for you many commonalities, and I'm not just going to do it here. I've actually got our team working on. Michael Phelps had some in swimming. There's been a number of sports over time, but all the upsets have a commonality. And a lot of those commonalities are existing in this fight. And this game just simply isn't designed any other way. You don't get to be a better ass kicker than everybody else alive for long. You just don't. Now, what that window is, but you just don't get to do it for that long. You don't get to come up off the canvas. Momentum is real. 15 straight, a lifetime of perfection versus a guy that lost 2.5 months ago. I'm not putting Volk down at all. I'm sharing with you. It's a very unique situation. Very unique. And there's a lot of things that line up where if you're wondering why the odds are closer, the odds over at DraftKings aren't as tight as they are because Topuria is better than you might know. It's not because of that. DraftKings and the analysts will look at a lot of these factors that I'm talking about. They'll look at a lot of factors that go into the line, and that's why it's as tight as it is. And I'm just sharing for you, before we laugh at Topuria or we dismiss Topuria, he is completely undefeated. He has a lifetime of never failing, and he's taking on a guy who didn't get out of the first round in his last match. I know that's a riddle, and I know there's more to it, but let that sink in. And then tell me that it's ridiculous that Topuria is planning to win.